trench aircraft with multiple souls. The aircraft was designed by a German engineer who had emigrated to America in 1933-34, and it was designed with the help and the aerodynamic genius of a Hungarian, Theodor von Karman, who was head of the aerodynamic department at University of Caltech, California Institute of Technology. And then it became the Mustang when all this was paired with a British engine.
And they built the prototype Mustang in 130 days. Now, when it was rolled out, it did have future clearance rather than a work. But it was rolled out very quickly, and of course the early Allison engine versions were fine low down, but the engine tended to run out of push as it got higher. And then one day somebody had the bright idea of what would happen if we put a Merlin in the Mustang, and lo and behold, you have one instant legend. Had a lot of fuel, a laminar flow wing, which meant less drag in the cruise, so they were able to get more miles to their fuel, so better range, better speed, and it enabled bombers to be escorted all the way into Germany. Mustangs with drop tanks could fly for anything up to 8 hours. Later versions of the P40 also powered by the Merlin. When it was still in service in the Dominican Republic, guarding their coastal water and their borders.
And of course, the Mustang became a kind of a legend again. People like all the Chinese used it as a pop art theme, and the design characteristics of the Mustang became famous. Even typing machine. And here comes Sally B, the one and only B-17 Flying Fortress, still flying in Europe, because sadly the French one is now grounded, not because of technical reasons, but because of many reasons, including a little bit of finance. And so Sally B is the one and only B-17 flying this side of the Atlantic. All the others are flying in America. Listen to the P-51 now. When you see the B-17, you have a feeling that compared to fighters, these big bombers were just like the fighters. And strangely, people consider these flying machines to be, if you're flying a big airline, going out and coming back from race. Some of these quite badly damaged. The idea of a crossfire, movements on the control. So this engineer, I was thinking a few minutes ago when Anna Walker was showing an instrument. You got you're not forcing an aircraft into a trajectory. You're bringing it into the trajectory, just like if you were dancing.
And yeah, this is we were mentioning earlier the whole thing of what was better, the Spitfire or the Mustang, as being fairly irrelevant. You can have the same argument about the Lancaster and the B-17. They were different generations. The B-17 was designed quite early in the 30s, designed to be a coastal, to defend the American coastals, a long-range. All the people in the Sally B Supporters Club. This one's for you.
The particular history of this aircraft in itself is a saga. This aircraft still exists because of a woman. It is Sally, Ellie Bellinger. She's the first one, Ellie Bellinger. Equipped with very tiny wings, very small wings, and big engines derived from Hispanos.
After the war, the Yak 3 was further developed with a radial engine on a two-seat cockpit to be the Yak 11 trainer, which is a lot of ways have found their way into Western hands, courtesy again of
This was probably the largest scale warbird operation ever undertaken since the warbird preservation saga started.
So these are late production, these were made relatively recently, new production.
And there was one non-Russian famous group in operation, which was a Free French group, the Normandie. The Normandie was born in London, where Charles de Gaulle decided that with his staff, they decided that for political reasons,
We have lost the Gladiator and the Lysander.
Another fascinating British aircraft sound. The Mercury engine was a radial engine, where around the engine opening, around a circular radiator, normally made of copper alloy, hence the colour, which is
Rescued in the 1960s by the totally wonderful Viv Bellamy down at the Hampshire Aeroplane Club.
How much he paid for it?
He paid £250 for it, and it had 80 hours on the aeroplane. Viv Bellamy was just one of the great gentlemen of British aviation, and he eventually sold it because it was too expensive on fuel.
Normally you can assign missions, pilots were mature people, were maybe older, 25, 28 years old. They knew how to handle a complicated flight on their own, navigate by themselves, and they could take it. Happened one day with Judgment, climbed up the ladder on the left side of the fuselage and fall down like a sack of potatoes on the back seat under the pilot and say, "I'm ready, you can go." And that gentleman later became the president of France, François Mitterrand.
And it also shouldn't be forgotten that Lysanders did leading there is Charlie Brown.
But the architecture is the same. They share the same architecture and the same engine.
Now Charlie pulling up in the Nimrod to go and play above, while now in the 1960s, the numbers as well as the Heart and the Demon and the Hawk behind, as we have here, there was also